So I went for a walk to try to get rid of my giggles. I couldn't help it. It's just, like I said, so many things are so crazy, and you can't believe that people are. Like I said, I've been locked down. I'm in Massachusetts, and I've just been wondering what's happening. I've seen a lot of people make a lot of big moves. Like I said, just moving states, moving. I thought I was gonna do that before the pandemic started, but I got shut down by everything. I really got shut down in many ways. And like I said, I came to a point where I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do. But the fact that a lot of people got divorced, and some people are getting married, they're finding the loves of their life. Everything is just so funny to me. But as I was walking around, I was like, I should explain why I believe in some of the fruity stuff I believe in. Every once in a while, I'll drop words that sound like I believe in strange things. So, when I was a kid, right, even like teenager, I used to like astrology and stuff like that, right? And I paid attention to it here and there. And then, I was doing my life. I was going to college, trying to make a life. Then I failed. I came home. So when I came home and I couldn't find work, I had time to, look into stuff I liked before. So I got more into the new age stuff that I used to read all the books I was supposed to read, and, got more into that stuff. But again, stuff starts happening, crises start happening, and then you start paying attention to day-to-day things, and you only think about what's happening right now, what needs to be done right now. And that's where I got off course, in my opinion. I know that sounds backwards, but anyway, the thing is, what I had learned to do, I when I did go to school, I went to a good school. I have a degree from NYU. I mean, it wasn't from Tisch. So even though I'm a movie buff, I did not go to that school. I have a useless degree, and that's why my life kind of sucks. But so I'm not completely stupid, but logic doesn't work for me. When I try to figure things out, I come to a dead end, and I learned that in my life. And so over time I had learned to trust my gut, trust my gut feeling, and I found that worked for me, because trying to be logical, anytime I try to make a decision logically or think things through and stuff like that, I just ended up making a mess, because I would rethink and either not come to any kind of decision, or so I learned to go with my first instinct, go with my gut, right? And I did that for years, and I learned to depend on it. I didn't even try to figure things out anymore. I just always went with my gut. My life still stunk, but that was because by that time I had gotten into such a hole that it was kind of hard to get out of, without some kind of outside intervention, and that didn't come. So, like I said, I keep forgetting. I don't know why I can't remember this, and this is maybe what's wrong with my head. I never remember if it was 2015 or 2016. Anyway, I think I got sick in 2014. It was right after Robin Williams killed himself, right? I got really sick. And I had been anemic. I didn't know. I had really bad fibroids. I didn't know. They wanted me to get a hysterectomy. I didn't want it. So I ended up putting it off for as long as I could. But then I was on the verge of dying a second time. So I had to have a hysterectomy. Okay. So that's bad enough. My life already sucks. Now I have a hysterectomy. So that whole line of thinking about I know I was 40. I was old. But that whole line of thinking maybe there was a still chance if I was ever going to have kids or anything like that, that all went. So that was bad enough. But as time went on and things would occur, I started to realize that my intuition was gone. My gut feeling was gone. And I said to myself, why am I so confused all the time? Why, you know what I mean? I knew I had been sick and stuff like that. And then I said to myself, wait a minute. Is your gut feeling actually in your gut? When they took my uterus out of me, did they take my intuition? Is that why it's women's intuition instead of just normal people's intuition? And, I started to think, yeah. Because I had to try to use logic to come to decisions, which was bad, because that gut feeling of knowing exactly what to do was completely gone. I had honed it over all those years, so that I always went with my first instinct, boom, and did stuff, and that was the right answer. And now that was gone. And I was like, oh my God, and I realized I'm like floating, not, I'm going to make wrong decisions all the time because I'm going to use my brain, which is faulty or something, because logic, as I said, never worked. And I was just having a hard time. Then I said to myself, wait a minute. What about chakras? What if you go look up your chakras? Because like I said, I knew a little bit here and there about a lot of different, esoteric type things. So I said, well, maybe if I try to develop, my sacral chakra in a spiritual sense, because that's gone, maybe I can get my intuition back. So I started, like, let's say 3 years ago, I started looking up all this stuff again, all the fruity stuff again. And with YouTube the way it is now, with so many videos on so many things, I started watching YouTube videos of different people and finding out about all these things, and trying to tap into my intuition, looking up all kinds of videos about that, chakra stuff and chakra balancing, and what if I do this and what if I do that, and essential oils and meditations and all this stuff to try to get back my intuition, which I've been getting it back, little by little. And it's different though. It's not like it was, because before it was a gut instinct and I knew for certain this is what I have to do, and I was certain. Now, the way I've been developing, it's not certain at all, and it's almost like a light whisper. It's like a faint idea in your head, and it was funny when I started realizing how different it was to how I had been before, and I started watching that show Manifest. I was like, wait a minute, this is exactly what intuition is like when you try to do it this way. The gut feeling's gone, okay, but the intuition, right? On Manifest, the characters, they get callings. It's like that because it's just like a faint whisper that tells you what to do. So maybe it's not my gut feeling, maybe it's not intuition, maybe I'm tapping into this concept of the higher self, and it's actually my crown chakra or something else that is telling me what to do, because it's not certain. And I have such a hard time of like, was that just a thought, or was that my intuition? Was that a guess, or was that my intuition? Is that what I want to do, or was that my intuition? So I spent a lot of time on all these things, but I've really gotten into it in the last year, being trapped in the house, but being able to have the internet. I've spent a great deal of time just concentrating on these things and trying to get right in the spiritual way, and while I'm watching all this worldly crap go on, and everything I'm seeing is against everything I've ever believed. Like I said, the money-centered stuff, and, all the crap, like all the selfie people and all that stuff. And like I said, I had a real problem with people like The Rock just selling alcohol while people were just like drug dealer stuff. And to me, it's all wrong. But those people thrive, and I'm on the bottom still. And I try to understand over the last year and everything that happened after my mom died. I try to understand. I'm like, look, you going back before fruity things and me reading astrology, or even before, I went to church and stuff. I always felt like you heard money is the root of all evil. You know what I mean? And over time, I evolved to the idea that the lack of money is the root of all evil, because it makes you do things you wouldn't normally do. But as I've come around to this past year, I'm like, no, money is the root of all evil, because what happened to people when they had to close down their shops? What happened with the stock market, and again using the stock market as a barometer of how things are doing for people while people are in a nightmare mess? The way the media hasn't shown what's actually going on, and how much people's lives have been affected, and then remember in Texas, after the horrible power outage, when the people's power came back on, they got electricity bills for like $10,000 and stuff like that. And the money thing is becoming worse. I just had an issue this week with somebody pretending to want to be my relative again, but it was all about money. And I don't have anything. Yes, there's opportunity to do something about something, but that could blow up in my face. That's why I don't take action. I'm not stupid. Like I said, I did get a degree at some point. I was smart enough somehow to get into a good school, even though I didn't do much with it. I survived the 4 years. But, you know, I still don't, I'm not worldly. I don't understand the ways of the world. That's why it's so much, it makes sense to me, the fruity stuff and the higher self and all that stuff. And that's why I say if I'm homeless and I gotta live in the woods, because I won't be able to do that. I'm not a survivalist, but the idea of it is that to have to not worry about that, and to not worry about money, to not worry about a house, to not worry about bills, that would just be the ideal, So, like I said, with the pandemic coming, in the beginning, I thought we were all going to die. I thought, okay, if this is real and it's spreading like this, either, millions and millions of people are going to die, or I'm going to die, or something, but things are going to forever be changed. Now, I do believe things are forever changed, but there's enough people with money trying to scrape into continuing to have the old world the way it was, that I just don't know. I don't know if it's, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. And I hate to think that I'm going to be ruined, or I'm going to be feeling like there's only one way out because I was trying to be a good person all along. And not like it was hard to be a good person. It's not like I had to really, what I consider a good person. Like other people will not consider me. I'm saying for what I believed was good. It'll make me very sad if thinking I spent my whole life doing what I thought was right, and then that's why I suffer. Because in the end it was about money. And even the people who, they had their businesses, they had their shops, they were kind of ruined, and they don't talk about it anymore, because when they talk about it, they talk about the people who made it, or the people who, I don't know, either sold their business or something else. It's like they don't talk about the economic impact. And I keep seeing, like I said, I kept seeing tweets about the IMF people saying how great the economy is going to be. I saw one from Russia today that said that, and I'm just like, how? I feel like this must be the lie. It can't be possible, because there's got to be a bunch of people, not me. I know I've always been not just an outcast, but I've always not fit in. So even in this situation, I don't fit in, because I was impacted in a way that everybody else wasn't impacted. And I got stuck in a way that other people didn't get stuck. So it's not like I can go here or there where everybody else goes, or have other people who I can commiserate with, because my situation is particular and I'm screwed in a very particular way. And my own need for freedom, and to not want to get a vaccine, and to not want to go along with the machine that runs on money, it scares me, because I'm like, okay, I'm fine with dying. If I can't go forward and be myself and exist without doing all these things I think are wrong, like get the vaccine, or other giving in type of situations, then that makes me really sad. And that's kind of, I think, why I'm angry, because it's like, look, I didn't want to not have money. I just didn't chase it. And I guess stupidly assumed, by putting one foot in front of the other, that it would work itself out and I would get a good job and save and have money and do all that stuff. That's not how my life went. So I spent a lot of time just trying to maintain my sanity, stay a good person, even though I had nothing life-wise. I had nothing to show for anything. I was just hanging on and, depending on people when I didn't want to do that. I totally thought I was going to be an independent person, and I would have never left home at 17 and moved to Manhattan, to go to a school where I knew nobody, if I didn't really believe that I was doing the right thing. Instead, it got me into trouble with loans, and the jobs weren't there to pay for the loans, and then I just ended up back here, completely outcast, and I don't fit here at all. And it's just like, because I'm not a genius, I couldn't figure out how to do things. But I've watched so many people, like our relatives who bothered me this week. The cousin I have, she's been a horrible person my whole life. She's ruined plenty of men. I never wanted to be like that. All she's been concerned with money her whole life. She's 10 years older than me, and you know what she doesn't have right now? She doesn't have money. She chased it, ruined lives, had a bunch of kids she didn't want. She's still surviving, though. She is a survivor. She uses people. She does all these horrible things. But the fact is, for all her efforts, for all her conniving, for all her scheming, she still doesn't have anything either. And she's always going, always trying to chase money down. And she doesn't have it. And I've known too many tales of people who had money and then didn't have it. Or chased money. All the people who sell drugs one way or another. If you have a liquor store, you're a drug dealer. Now, I know people don't think of it that way. But, if you work for a pharmaceutical company, you're a drug dealer. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you stand on the corner and sell heroin to somebody, you're a drug dealer. If you believe that heroin is good for people, if you believe the pharmaceuticals you sell are good for people, if you believe that alcohol is good for people, it makes them have a nice time, it makes them relax, and you can do that and you can sell those things, fine. But I see people who suffer, and I see people who have a hard time in this world because of that stuff. And in the end, I would not want to be a person who does that. That's why I come out against it, because I believe it's making money from harming other people. Doctors, the vaccines now, there's so many. When I see people making money and having a lot of money hand over fist, it's one thing if you're a celebrity and you're just making money from taking selfies and stuff like that, or if you're a rap artist or something like that, you could be a bad influence on people, but you're not harming people. But if you're a rapper who then sells alcohol, well, now I don't understand why you're doing that, Or if you're, like I said, a big movie star who then sells alcohol, I don't understand why you're doing that, because that's something that really, it's a destructive force in this world. I know that, like I said, I'm not a prohibitionist, but if it was an easy thing for people to just take as much as they want and not become drunks, that would be fine, but it's not. And the number of people who do bad things to other people because they're drunk, there's too many bad things that happen with alcohol. Drunk driving, date rape, all kinds of things. People who are total drunks and they beat their kids and their wives. I just see too many ways that alcohol goes bad. People think, oh, you're just an idiot because it's so much fun to have champagne or have a glass of wine after dinner. If you can keep it to that, great, but a lot of people can't, and that's why I'm talking about the destructive power of that stuff. And when you already have millions of dollars, I can't see doing that. So this is what I'm saying. This is what's wrong. This is why I don't have money. And this is why I'm in trouble. And everybody will say, well, that's your own fault. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I understand that. But because I'm a fruity person and I go along the fruity path of thinking that you're supposed to care about spiritual topics instead of material things, I know I've gone too far that way. But when you don't have material things anyway, no matter how hard you try and the more you try to figure it out, you just get more screwed up. It's important for me to be a good person, but I'm afraid now that survival and being a good person are going to come to a head. And it's going to be like, because I have no money, because I could very easily end up in a very bad situation where I do need help from government or something, which I already am getting help. I shouldn't say that, but I mean serious help, that I will have to make a decision between survival and getting the vaccine. You know what I mean? So if it's that, the only way I'm going to survive is if I get the vaccine. Like it's a requirement. I don't want to get to that day. I don't want to get to that decision because I still want to be what I consider to be right. I want to be good. I don't want to sell my soul to survive. I'd rather die a good person. So I worry about that day. And I worry about waiting too long to do anything to help myself financially, but my instincts and my survival stuff is not telling me to do what everybody else would do right now. Something is making me stay in the position I am. I don't think it's fear. Yeah, there's a great deal of unknown, but at different points when I thought maybe I could do this or that, maybe I can get out of here and go somewhere else, everything that's happened, everything that's gone on, I don't know. I just feel I'm running the risk of really ruining everything. But I don't feel right. I don't feel right about everything right now. Just when I think of the future, it's like it's not even like fog or a dead end. It's like maybe a dark, foggy night where you can't see shit because it's dark and foggy, you know? And that's what I'm saying. So it's like, what is there? Is there a dead end? Is there a cliff? You know, is there a scary monster? I don't know. When I try to envision a future and figure out what I'm going to do, I don't know. But I see all these other people making these quick decisions to move and get married or get divorced. And, you know, all during this pandemic, I'm like, how are people doing that? How are people, you know what I mean? I can barely think. I can barely think just from being locked up all the time, you know? But I try to take it day by day, but then things happen and make me question everything. And I'm like I said before, yesterday I actually was washing my hands or something. I'm like, is this a simulation? Like, I've heard that kind of crap for a long time. I didn't think so, but I'm like, Jesus, is it all just a game, you know, like the Matrix? I really hope not, because why would I have made the simulation for myself like this? It's just, I feel like I needed to change things years ago at some point, but I don't know when. I tried to figure out what year was it where I had an opportunity and didn't know it. Like, what year was it where I was just sitting here doing nothing, and that was when I was supposed to be coming up with something, you know? And I don't. And I'm just like, sometimes, especially last year, I've really been saying to myself, especially after my mom died, it's just really, was I supposed to chase money? And then when I think about it, I'm like, when was I supposed to have done that? When was I supposed to have known to do that? Because I never did. I never got a strong feeling, okay, you need to do whatever you have to do to make a lot of money right now. You have to do whatever you have to do, or else you're not going to survive. I never felt like that. And stupidly, maybe, I still don't feel like, like I said, I really felt like money was going to finally be shown to be, you know, a paper tiger, that it was going to finally blow up in everybody's face. But instead, it's just more of a gap between rich and poor in a way that I don't understand, because it doesn't make sense. The economies should have collapsed, all of them. None of it makes sense. None of it. I don't understand how now they're predicting that these economies are going to do better. What are they talking about? Is this one of the newspeak lies? Or is it really real? And I wouldn't know how to find out, because I don't know anybody to talk to. There's no way to get real information anymore. You can look stuff up online, but, you know, apart from, I mean, I feel like for the first time in my life, and I've been a person who watched the news even as a kid. For the first time in my life, I feel like when I watch the news, I don't get any information, or there's nowhere to find it. Like, you can't Google it anymore because Google is controlled, it, you know. So in terms of really understanding what's going on and really know what's really going on for people, There's no way to know because you don't even see people anymore. You don't talk to people. I don't know if people, places like Texas or Florida, which they're always coming up with a new crisis in these places, if the people there really talk to each other, if the people hang out, if the people know, just what do I want to say, the grapevine. Does the grapevine still work? Do people know what's going on in the rest of the world with other people? Do they know if somebody became financially insolvent? Do they know if somebody had to sell their house? Do they know if the businesses went under, or if they just sold it to survive, or if they're in bad trouble? Does anybody know what's going on with anybody else? Because I don't. So it's just like, I really feel like I'm living in a world and I don't know anything at all. And I'm supposed to make a decision about my life, or come to something, or come up with something, or quickly. That's why when I don't know what to do, my thinking or my attitude has been, when you don't know what to do nothing. Because in the past, I've made things worse by trying to do things. So I fear making it worse. There's too many things to think about. That's why so many days I just shut down. I'm like, I can't. It's going to have to play out and work out the way it does. But like I said, I try to follow my intuition. I'm right with my intuition. I can't predict a damn thing. That's why I never picked the right Oscar movies and stuff. I may have picked the best one, or the best. I know quality. I know what should win. I'm a good judge of character. Usually I'm a good judge of people. Just not that certain celebrity, but yeah, for years I always had like a pretend husband, because you know what I mean, just to get through my life. I would so it was like every year or so I would get a new one, and it'd be somebody who was famous at the time. But like I said, they haven't been making movie stars like they used to, so that's how I get through. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't take pharmaceutical medicines. I have vitamins that I'm supposed to take. This is why I put the box up here. The vitamins are in here so I can wake up in the morning and remember to take them. I took them twice this week. Once so that I can be healthy and fix my probiotics, and I can't remember. But I don't take medication. That's like zinc and probiotics and spirulina, some kind of combination of all that kind of stuff, and vegetable extracts, because I don't eat vegetables. So, but I can't remember. That's not what my life does. It's not what my mind does. My intuition has me doing other things, and I gotta follow it because I don't have anything else. I don't have good advisors. I've never had helpful people in my life. The people who helped me, all the people I've gone to for help since my mom died, made it worse. And I wish just recently, after everything I know about myself and that I just really listened to my intuition and really stayed away from people. But I was so scared and so alone that I went to people for help, and it screwed me over so bad. Just simple little, it doesn't even seem like help. Just asking people questions, and their guesses and their crap intuition or their panic ended me up in situations because they didn't understand my life. And if I had just recent evidence for myself that I should have just listened to my intuition, even though it made no sense at all, then I'd be better off today. I went through a lot of crap because I knew that what I was thinking didn't make sense, and what other people said made sense, or I knew nothing about a topic, and I went to people who were supposed to know everything. And if I just listened to myself instead of them, I'd be better off. And I knew to do it. And still, because being afraid and knowing that you didn't know something and trying to think about money and worrying about money, I'd have more money. I probably may have moved away if I listened to myself, even though it made no sense and I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But looking back, I know now, even though I didn't know jack shit and nothing made sense to me, and I didn't know the rules, meaning the laws of the state of Massachusetts, I still would have been better off listening to my own intuition. So it's so hard for me, and I try to be as fruity as possible. I try to listen to my intuition. I try That's why I stay by myself. That's why boom cars bother me so much, because anything physical, anything immediate, anything like a honking horn, anything that's going to draw me away from my own mind, anybody's problems and stuff like that. Apart from when I need a distraction, silly distractions, watching videos, watching movies, even celebrity gossip, which I wasn't a person for gossip, but it's entertaining sometimes, especially when it makes you get the giggles and everybody's freaking out. But half an hour, I talked for half an hour already. I hope someday, if this stays up, if this channel doesn't get erased, there'll be something of value in it for somebody who ends up listening to it. Maybe people learn from my stupidity or my mistakes. Maybe I end up being right about something. I don't know, but I'm getting more talky now. It's weird. I keep doing that because of this double fat, triple, quadruple chin of mine. Back when I was thin, back when I had a good body, back when I was a size 5, I still had a double chin. It's just a fat face. That's why it didn't matter. I still look like shit even though I had a good body, so. But this is like a new habit of mine because I'm seeing it. So my brain just makes me do that without realizing it. Anyways, that's why I'm crazy. That's what, well, crazy. I'm not crazy. That's why I'm more likely to believe in Pleiadians than, the government cares about its people. You know what I mean? I would love it if aliens landed. I don't think so. I'd love a rescue. I'd love to be taken to, wherever ET's from. But I'm down here. And I'm not good at real life. So that's why I am the way I am.